Good morning, everyone. This is Nathan Hylla, the Advanced Engineering Technician with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District with your conservation report for Saturday, September 24th, 2016. Last week you got the pleasure of meeting Aaron Jans. He's a soil conservationist in our office. Started not that long ago. The only downfall to him is that he's from Wisconsin. This week was a little bit easier now that the Vikings beat the Packers last week to work with him in the office, so it was rather fun to give him a little grief, and I guess that's what makes work fun, is getting along with your coworkers. Again, I have a unique situation if you've ever been in our office, to work with the unique personalities that we have here in the office, and we all get along, and it's a great place to be. So hopefully we can fill your conservation needs, along with maybe stopping and giving Aaron a little grief for being a Packers fan. So the first thing I want to talk about, last week Aaron talked a little bit about safety, and the one thing he didn't talk about with safety is safety to yourself. Remember, this fall we try to do too much, too fast, we're too busy with things. Don't forget about taking care of your health. That's number one. Take care, slow down, even though you have lots of things to do during the harvest. In the recent rains too this week, I'm doing the report on the 22nd, and some areas of the state received 10 plus inches of rain. So we're strapped for time, and I know farmers are a little bit concerned about getting the crop off the field, but take time to be healthy and to think about things as you're going through safety, as far as getting on the tractors, getting off the tractors, just equipment around, people around, as well as having good nutritious meals and stuff. I know it's not really a conservation type topic, but it's something to think about that we often forget about ourselves. And we remember, how much needs to get done instead of that. So having a healthy you is a little bit more important in the fall harvest as well. The first thing I want to talk about is we were talking about soil. This week I had an email sent to me about soil temperature and fall fertilizer application. Just one of the things to think about when you're applying anhydrous ammonia in the fall, that we want to do that when it's 50 degrees or less. In areas where fall nitrogen applications are appropriate, soil temperature should be your guide. Waiting until the soil temp is below 50 degrees before applying that anhydrous ammonia or urea increases the availability of that nitrogen in the next year, and decreases that going into the groundwater. So those are two very important topics. You should wait for that temperature to be below 50 degrees before you apply that. So just something to think about as you're moving forward this fall. Winter isn't that far away when you think about it. I know the leaves haven't changed yet, and things are in process, but those are all items to remember. So if you have questions, you can come and see our office. We are located at 110 2nd Street South, Suite 128. The Marketplace Mall. We're kind of by the Pizza Ranch, and for those that know where the new Dick's Sporting Goods is located, we're not that far away from them. So we are located there. Our phone number is 320-251-7800, extension 3. The next thing I want to talk about, I'm a big bow hunter, and I've talked about hunting and some wildlife things in the past. But when I go out to South Dakota, the one thing I notice is that they don't have a lot of, that they leave a lot of residue on their cornfields. The stalks are left at waist height or even higher in some cases, and they don't use the bedding like we do here in Minnesota and even central Minnesota and dairy country. But a couple of things to think about when you're baling your corn residue. Some of that carbon that's left on there, some of that residue is good for the field as you maintain your soil health. But at the same time, you want to think about ways that you can be profitable on those acres, using that corn straw because it's something that you have available. A couple of things you can do to help alleviate the pressure on the soil within those cornfields is sometimes maybe target corn harvest in fields, or residue harvest in fields not to be planted, or will be planted in corn next year. Not to be planted in corn. It will be planted in corn next year. And then sometimes along with that, if you're going to do corn on corn, think about doing one field and then not doing it the next year and leaving that carbon back out on the landscape. And just rotate fields from year to year. Also reduce tillage following that harvest, so that would help. The other thing you could do is many of you come and see us for egg waste projects and manure pits, things like that. One of the things you can help with this corn residue on your field, if you do decide to use it for bedding, is to apply manure back to that field sometime in the fall. And the other thing to think about, I know it's a hot topic, is cover crops. Put some of those cover crops back on your field and get that carbon back out there. Not only that, but it also protects the soil during these winter months. I did a presentation yesterday to the legislators and potential candidates in Sauk Center for the area, the West Central Technical Service area, which is 12 counties from Stearns County, Benton County on west out to the South Dakota border. And I showed a lot of pictures of some issues that we still have here as far as erosion, but there's several places that we could have used some cover crops and eliminated some of those problems that I talked about yesterday. So just keep that in mind as the fall moves forward, and even next year for cover crops. You want to do some long-term planning for that kind of stuff. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Livestock Investment Grant. Minnesota Department of Agriculture usually announces the Livestock Investment Grant. It's an opportunity for farmers to get some funding for projects that they've done through the past year in 2016. Normally the project has to be done, and I believe you had a grant up to $4,000, I believe is what the minimum was in the past. We do have information in the office, and we don't have it yet. Minnesota Department of Ag, if you want to, you can Google Livestock Investment Grant, and you could get up to $4,000 for your project for funding. So if you did a good water quality project, some things to help out your farm, you may be able to apply for that Livestock Investment Grant. We've had several farmers in Stearns County get awarded that funding for doing some good things on their farm. So something to keep in mind. And again, if you have questions on the Livestock Investment Grant, you can either Google it online, or you can give us a call at 320-251-7800 extension 3. And the last thing I'd like to talk about is AgBMP loans along with that. You know, I know crop prices and dairy prices, aren't the best right now, but there are AgBMP loans here in Stearns County that we have for producers, even for new equipment, things like that. And equipment is more along the lines of conservation-related equipment. Some no-till things, things like that to help alleviate some of the stresses on the environment. So, if you're interested in the AgBMP loan, you'd work with your local bank, but you'd start the conversation here at the Stearns County SWCD and NRCS field office. So, I hope you have a great fall. I hope you have a safe fall. And I hope things go well during the harvest, and we could use a little dry spell here. So have a great fall, and we'll see you sometime in December. This is Nathan Hylla, Advanced Engineering Technician with the Stearns County Soil and Water Conservation District, with your conservation report for Saturday, September 24th, 2016.